Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are back here with the dynamic duo. Yes, it's all about the Love and Design project, and this husband and wife team are really stepping things up, and it's pretty amazing the work we've been talking about. Again, with our host, author, lifestyle journalist for over 20 years of experience, Samantha Bessudo Drucker is her name, and her husband, of course, here, he's the architect, Jeffrey Drucker, and the two of them together really have it down. They're helping you with your interiors, exteriors, and all the process of renovation. So let me welcome you guys back to the show today. How are you?
Oh, thank you, Jill, for being with us again. We're so excited for today's topic. Today, we are talking about appliances.
Yay!
All kinds of appliances.
Yeah.
And we couldn't resist the subject with President's Day sales going on.
It's so true. They're all over. I just got the email from Costco. Still, Samsung refrigerators are on sale. I said, oh, I want that nice cool one. But yeah, so anyway, President's Day, as you mentioned, seems to offer really a lot of good sales, home goods, household appliances, and all that. So how can you help us determine, what we may need, and how could you help us actually shop for them? Oh, he's got something going on in the background.
So yes, so so there have been a lot of exciting advancements in appliances. Some brands will not only offer different sizes, but now they offer different finishes, different colors, different configurations, and some companies will even give you the appliances without the front finish so that your cabinet maker can adhere the identical cabinet that you're using in the rest of your home or your kitchen or your whole thing, if it's an open place, so that it disappears. So you can now make your kitchen disappear. And well, there's a lot of good things going on in the world of appliances. So that's what we are here to talk about, because we're no longer limited in design by our appliances. You no longer have to design your kitchen around fitting in the refrigerator.
Well, also,
now,
just to mention, last week you taught me about, and our listeners, a lot of them, about as far as bedroom furniture is concerned, they're making bedroom furniture with, for example, refrigerators that are a part of it hidden, whether it's underneath the bed or an actual, arm table or armoire, like within it. So I love the masking idea. Absolutely.
Yeah, there are drawers. There are refrigerated drawers and ice drawers, and there's even cosmetic drawers that keep your creams, lotions, and potions cool. So lots of things going on in the world of appliances that I'm really excited about. So, yeah.
Do you want to share a little bit on that, Jeffrey, before we talk a little more about factoring in, how do you do that with remodeling and all?
No, definitely. Today we're going to kind of focus on the kitchen. I mean, obviously, in your kitchen, your laundry, your bathrooms are all areas that you can consider for sale days like President's Day sale, but also Memorial Day coming up, Labor Day, Thanksgiving, Black Friday. Those are usually periods of time when big sales are going along on appliances, and those are good times to think about in advance to those dates. So we're going to look at kitchens first today. We're going to talk about the abundance of brands and deals a little bit later. But before we can talk about appliances, we want to talk about the questions that you ask yourself and decide upon for the function of your kitchen.
Yeah, you have to look at how you use your kitchen. For example, maybe if you have a big family, there's lots of kids and school lunches being packed in the morning and lots of people around your kitchen, or maybe you have big family Sunday dinners where multiple people in your family are cooking at the same time, or maybe you're a single gal and you don't cook and you use your kitchen cabinet storage, whatever, for shoes and accessories. You have to first figure out what your situation is and the way you like to use your kitchen. And then from there, you can determine a whole lot of things. And one of the really exciting advancements that I really like is that now your fridge and your freezer no longer have to be one unit. There are brands that offer separate refrigerators, separate freezer. So maybe if you travel a lot, you might opt for a skinny freezer and a fatter freezer and a skinnier fridge if you're never around. And so ways to determine what you need, how much space
Samantha
you
just
have.
loves that one. Thermador does a style like that, and she's looking to put these drawers all over the place, living room, bedroom, wherever you can fit them in. But it's actually a very flexible option. So some of the other things to consider in the function of your kitchen is how do you use it and who uses it?
Yeah.
Do you entertain? How do you want to plan the kitchen? What appliances do you actually need? What accessories are you going to have? Also, not to forget some of the technical aspects, the power, the plumbing, the exhaust requirements.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk also about the storage requirements, gadgets, and then, of course, the budget. So Samantha, let's start talking about the function of the kitchen.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So as I was saying, first you have to determine how you use the kitchen. And one of the things that I'm excited about the advancements that I just mentioned is that we used to be limited in our design, having to design the floor plan or flow around the appliances. And that is no longer the case. Now you can design what you want to design because now you can just make everything fit the way you want to.
Flexibility in mind.
Yeah.
People have different ways of using the kitchen. Sometimes it's a whole family. Sometimes you have friends that come in and join in. How do you
And
go
we
about
talked
doing
about how, whether you have a large family or you're a single person or a small family. And as we were talking about last week, now since more people work from home, we're seeing a lot more open floor plans. And so with an open floor plan, you kind of want to hide the mess that your kitchen can produce. And so I'm a really big fan of the hidden or semi-hidden kitchen. And there are also ways to extend your kitchen out into the living room.
So you can actually open up the kitchen to the living room, but when you visualize it from the living room, you don't really see at first glance that it's a kitchen because the finishes might mimic or might be very similar to what you have in your living space.
Which I really like if you're dealing with an open floor plan, which you might want to if you live in an apartment, because it can make your 1,500 square feet look like 2,000 square feet.
I'm looking behind you. Is that one of your 3D images and models?
Well,
this is not a model. This is an actual
kitchen
that we did in Florida.
Beautiful. Okay.
This is our kitchen in Florida. And we're very, very proud of it. And it also we opened up the wall to the guest room that opens and closes. So we have a flex room where I do studio production. It's a guest room, it's a gym, and it's also a TV room. And by opening up that wall from the kitchen to the flex room, and that wall has a shutter that opens and closes, comes down and up.
Wow.
So you can close it off or open it up.
We're a big believer in flexibility and utilizing the views. In this particular condominium, we have a lot of views out to the ocean at all angles. So we want to make the most of it and we want to open it up. So there's ways to think about laying out your kitchen. In this particular case, we had the electric stovetop at the angle so that you could see out, and while you're doing your cooking, you're actually looking at the view. So it's a much more appealing way to cook.
That's
and
right.
Be within your kitchen.
And you can have like a 360 almost view of what's happening in your home that way. I love sliding walls and opening doors and things like that.
And sliding televisions like the one you have in your bedroom, right? That goes in and out of I don't know if it's the hub of the bed or in a wall.
It's a projector. So we used.
I think she's talking about this one, but the one we have in Florida, which we're going to show in a follow-up.
We actually have a projector screen that doubles as the blackout screen from the sun with a projector unit. So that's stuck into the wall, so it takes up no space.
So Samantha, let's go back to the kitchen.
To the kitchen.
So once you figured out how you're going to use your kitchen and the function is really important.
I wanted to talk about creeping out into the living room in terms of function.
That as well, of course.
Like, for example, if you usually have a glass of wine in the living room, and the living room is where you serve your friends cocktails or drinks when you entertain, why not consider putting your wine fridge, your beverage coolers, your bar, your liquor cabinet, wrap it around away from the kitchen into the living room where you might have more space for it, freeing up room in your kitchen and putting these items where you're most likely to want to use them.
Absolutely. But going back to the basics, you have to feel comfortable in your kitchen. You have to
True.
understand where
True.
things are going to be. So, do you need a lot of countertop? Do you do a lot of chopping? When you walk in from with your groceries, you have a space to put things down. Where's your dishwasher?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a pantry closet?
Where's
And where
your
is it?
microwave? Where are your cooktops? All those
Do you have
things
room
need
for
to
your
be
pots, pans,
positioned
and
in such
dishes?
a way so that everything works within your kitchen. So sometimes what we like to do is we draw up a plan and then we actually do a mock-up in the kitchen,
Yep.
and we can put a tape down or we can put boxes down to help us understand where everything is. But
Good.
one of the essential things when you're talking about appliances is to understand what type of appliances you want, what type of space they're going to take, where they're going to be positioned, and then visually, if that's going to work for the space visually, and if it's going to work for the space functionally. Those are the main things you need to look at.
So Jeffrey is, of course, bringing up what kinds of appliances you might want because he wants a pizza oven. I'm just saying.
Oh,
But-
so do I for my backyard. Yes. Those are amazing. And they have portable ones now too. I don't have to get it all in
Yes.
stone from what I hear, but interesting.
That's right. So, maybe you want an ice cream maker, or we put a coffee machine in our Florida apartment renovation. We put a coffee machine in the wall in the living room, which is a big hit. We have like a coffee station. But one of the hacks I'd like to pass to our listeners is that I think that a lot of time kitchen gadgets don't get used because they're not readily accessible. I don't know how many people I know that have waffle makers that never use them because they're not accessible, or
Guilty.
blenders, or bread makers, or whatever.
So Samantha has a lot of
I
these
have a
gadgets.
hack. So when you're trying to plan out your kitchen and figuring out what kind of space you need or want, use your table or floor or some kind of flat surface. Take out all of those kitchen gadgets. Take out all of
Okay.
them.
Okay.
Lay them all out. Figure out where in the kitchen you're most likely to use them, and ask yourself, are there models available that allow you to connect it to under counter so that it is stuck to the underside of the cabinet
Smart.
above the counter? Or can you build it with a shelf up above to free up counter space? So what can you do to make them accessible yet so aesthetic, so they don't take over your life, but they're there when you need them?
So when you take them all out, what I like to do, especially Samantha has so many of them, she has mixers and Vitamixes and all these kind of things, is measure the amount of counter space that you're going to need, because you may not be able to fit it all there.
True.
So measure and locate where those things are going to be and whether you need more counter space for it. And also make sure that you have the power requirements for them, that your outlets are in the right place. You don't want these cords going all over the place. So those are important things to think in advance, because once your kitchen is designed and built, it's going to be hard to go back and renovate that yet another time. Plus, it's going to be costly.
Here's another money-saving idea, because we're going to get into recycling and green later on in this discussion. But one way you can save some money, perhaps, is if you have elders in your family that are downsizing. They're moving to a smaller apartment.
Yeah.
And maybe they used to have a huge kitchen with all the gadgets. You might be able to inherit or purchase those gadgets from one of your elders and get a great deal on a whole lot of kitchen value.
Oh, they might even just give it away to you.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
you could
pretty
inherit
fantastic.
Or purchase. Yes.
Interesting.
So budget is also a really important thing to consider, obviously. And you have two different types of renovations in a kitchen. You might have your just a cosmetic upgrade where you want to switch out some of the appliances,
Or just do a paint job.
Or you may want a full renovation. So speaking about a cosmetic renovation, even if you want to switch out your appliances, there's the cost of the appliances, but you have to look if you're going to have the power requirements for the new appliances. A lot of new appliances are connected to Wi-Fi. Does your Wi-Fi hub easily adapt to those appliances? You may need to have new plumbing connections. Obviously, the refrigerators need water lines. The washing machines need water lines. The dishwasher need water lines. So you have enough connections under your sink
And maybe you
to
want to add
utilize
a
all of
water
those.
filtration system
Definitely.
for alkaline water that exists in over, on counter models and under counter models.
So a lot of these things have to be thought about,
In
even
advance.
if it's just a cosmetic renovation, because they add dollars. So you want to figure out, you want to put together kind of an inventory list of your appliances and the requirements they're going to have. And if you can't accommodate those, then that's what you need to think about when you go into the appliance store to find out what you want. How many of these gadgets, how many of these accessories can you add on to it?
Do you want to talk about green? Going
Absolutely.
green?
Yes.
So, there are new regulations happening in the world, and they just started rolling them out in New York State.
So stoves, most stoves are gas stoves. And for the first time, we had an electric stove in Florida. We had a little, it took us a little bit to get used to it.
Just like the whole world is going
You
electric
like to have
with
flame
cars,
on it.
and a lot of countries are adopting rules about electric cars. The same kind of thing is happening in the world of appliances. Your gas oven, your gas cooktop is a thing of the past, or it will be soon. So you'll either do it now or you'll be forced to do it in the future.
So gas is becoming a no-no. Actually, in New York City, they're going to stop making gas stoves, and actually everything's going to have to be electric. So those are things you need to think about in advance as you're buying new things.
See it as a positive. One, you're going to do your part to keep the world a little bit greener, and two, you're going to save space. And you are going to gain countertop, and you're not going to sacrifice quality, because these newer models of electric stoves and cooktops are wonderful. And a lot of chefs have been telling me, and people that like to cook, that they now like them just as much as the old-fashioned gas.
The other advantage of it is that you can use the space below for drawers and storage. You never have enough storage. What we like to incorporate in kitchens is big drawers, so you can put all your pots and pans that slide out, and not to have to stack them. And having one of these electric stoves allows you that additional space for it. But going back to budgets, on a cosmetic renovation, you list all of those things. On a full renovation, you want to put together all your plans. Figure out what you're going to do. You have cabinetry to consider, you have lighting, you have power, you have exhaust systems to consider. So all of those things add up dollars, and you want to understand what your budget is, because a full renovation might not be in the cards, even if you're able to get good deals on the appliances. It's a lot more than the appliances, and you have to kind of gauge what level of renovation you're going to do. And it can be anything from a cosmetic, where you're switching out appliances
or
and
just
doing
the cabinet
paint.
doors, you can switch those out.
Right, but sometimes even in the cosmetic, it's so important to understand what the sizes of these new appliances are, because you may have to cut out your cabinets, you may have to modify it, and you don't want to make it look like an afterthought, even in the cosmetic.
And take inventory of what's in your kitchen, because maybe there's stuff like chipped glasses and chipped this and that you don't really need or like, or doesn't really do anything for you.
I'm one of those people who have like all those coffee cups that people give as gifts or from vacations and mementos, but do I ever use them? No. They are taking up one full cabinet in my kitchen. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. It's got to go. It's clutter. I got to get rid of it. There you guys go. Is that you all too? In the background?
Salvation Army.
This is us talking about our plans, and this is before we did our renovation in Florida, in Hollywood. But kitchen is probably the most difficult space for a couple or any group to design, because everybody has their own taste. Everybody has their different heights. I can tell you, when we designed our kitchen in Florida, the island was designed at a certain height so that it would match other cabinetry. Samantha walked in, she goes to that counter and she goes, it's absolutely too high. And I was there, and saying, "Oh, she's gonna love it. It looks fantastic." And her first remark was it was too high. And I walked up to it and I said, "What do you mean too high? And I'm a little bit taller." She says, "This is too high. It's not going to work." So
measure yourself.
you do need to think about these things. Luckily, I was able to solve it. We cut a little bit on the baseboard. The cabinet maker hummed and hawed, but it was a solvable solution. But it's not always that easy to do.
Yeah.
So think about, the people in your family, how they're going to use it, do it in average height, the cabinet heights, how high are they? So there's adjustments. There's standard heights, but there's
And
adjustments.
what is the
Yeah.
trend? Are people doing their cabinets straight up to the top with the crown molding, or do some people keep them lower with the crown molding? Is there a trend that you're seeing that most people are doing? And how are most of your kitchens being built? Like, what are people looking for these days?
So, if you live in an apartment, most likely you might want to take that cabinet straight up to the ceiling
Yeah.
and take advantage of the space that's there.
Got it.
So it all depends on the cabinet types. Certain cabinets come in unit sizes, or you can have custom
Custom
sizes.
made.
If it's unit sizes, they can be very nice and you can make them look custom. They usually don't go to the top because it's a certain height and your ceiling might be different. So then you can fill that in slightly. Maybe it's 3 or 4 inches with a filler panel.
Or if your ceiling is high, you might have a place for, a collection of, beautiful cobalt blue vases or something like that. Things that you don't
that you can
need
put on
often
top.
that are
But
aesthetically
that
pleasing.
top can become a dust collector. So you do want to close it in. And the style, if it's more traditional, you definitely can put a crown molding. If you want something just a little cleaner look or modern look, then you can just put a filler piece on top of that. So there's different ways you can deal with that.
You've got options.
Let's talk a little bit about the appliances now. And this is us, happy about buying our Melee kitchen with the salesman there. It was quite an experience. We went through the store, looked at all the gadgets, tried to determine what was the best different things. But Samantha, let's talk a little bit about the brands and the levels of manufacturers. One of the things that we like to talk about is panelized and non-panelized. Tell us a little bit about that, Sam.
Yeah, well, panelized versus unpanelized. So certain brands like Melee will give you an option. You can have it in charcoal gray, you can have it in steel, you can have it in white. They offer a few finishes, and they offer a few finishes of handles, like the handle to open the oven or push open with no handles. And they offer unpaneled so that your cabinet maker can apply the same finish on top of the face of the whatever it is, fridge, oven, you name it.
So that everything is aligned, and in fact,
make the kitchen disappear.
Right. In fact, that finish can be the same finish that you're using for cabinetry in the living space.
Make your bar disappear. Make it all disappear.
So when the living space is open to the kitchen, you actually feel like the living space is large, and you don't visualize the kitchen there because it's all.
This is where I was saying things like hiding your kitchen and extending it with more hidden things out into the living room can make your 1,500 square apartment feel like 2,000 square feet very easily.
So that's one of the things to consider, panelized versus non-panelized. Obviously, more standard is less expensive. And as Sam said, you can get in stainless steel, white, and sometimes a couple other colors. But if you want something that's a special custom look, take a look at these panelized systems.
And if you want to be, let your furniture and your artwork be the star of your apartment, I mean, other than you, of course, you are, especially if you're considering an open floor plan, you might want to really consider doing all the cabinetry in the same color, the same kind of look and finish so that it disappears. So let your sofa, your fabulous, table be the star.
You also want to look at the appliance features. A lot of these appliances come with specialized features today. We have a refrigerator in Florida that comes with a camera inside. So with an app, as we're flying to Florida, if we want to order something in Amazon, we forgot what's in the fridge, we can actually take a look at what's in there, and it gives you a list of the dates, if they've expired, if it needs to, if you
That's
need
right.
to refill it with something else.
That's right. We have a vacuum that will scout your place out like a security camera.
That's another
and
thing.
we have a fridge that will take pictures of the inside of the fridge and let us order straight to Amazon groceries, so we have stuff when
So
we
there's
arrive.
many different accessories that come with it. And you also want to look at the warranties, and you want to make a full evaluation of what you're buying. There's a lot out there. Also take a look at how the appliances operate. I can tell you we bought a stove a couple of years ago in another location where we were a little bit disappointed about the digital and how things were set. And it didn't function exactly the way we wanted. So, look at it, try it out. Don't just buy it based on what you're seeing. Ask the salesman to show you how it works.
And speaking of sales, is it true you get a sale if you buy a little of a package deal? Maybe get the oven, the microwave, the dishwasher in one?
Correct. There are a few times of the year, Labor Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Christmas, Cyber Monday,
Black Friday,
Black Friday, when there's lots of big sales on appliances, and sometimes you can get deals like buy 4 appliances and get a steep discount on the 5th one. There's all kinds of deals.
Yeah, they have different packages for different brands. As the salesman with the various brands, be it GE, Melee, whatever it might be, what package deal are they offering today? Sometimes a package deal includes appliances that you don't need, so that might not be for you, but likelihood you'll find a package that does work with you.
Or ask for the manager and negotiate.
Definitely.
You can always try to negotiate.
Find out if it has rebate options. Find out if it includes delivery and installation. That's a big one. You often get surprised. Right. You often get surprised. The delivery comes in, they want an additional charge. And that's usually something that you can negotiate on pretty easily.
I suggest don't wait for the sale to figure out what you want to buy. Do your research. Spend your, Monday evenings, Tuesday evenings when the stores are quiet to go in early around 4 or 5 o'clock so you can ask salesmen and managers lots of questions, and you can visit all the stores and do your preliminary work online before you start trotting around the city to find things. And then once you know what you want and you fit it into your design, then wait for the sale and then go get them.
That's definitely an excellent tip. Another tip is find out if when they deliver your appliances, do they take the old appliance? Do they take the old refrigerator, stove? Dumping it, believe it or not, is an expense. First of all, disconnecting it, moving it, and getting a carting company to pick it up is a cost factor, unless you're giving it to a friend. But if it doesn't have any value anymore, it's best to find out if they include it. And most often, they do include that.
Got it. And any other appliances we should be looking out for, maybe like coffee makers? I know you mentioned that before.
Yes. So little quick story. When we went to Melee, we bought 5 or 6 different appliances at the same time, and that rang up a bill, and I said, okay, enough. And then suddenly the salesman, of course, a very good salesman, he says, would you guys like a coffee? And he pushes a button and it goes.
How can you resist?
It was a must-have, and this particular one is a Melee coffee maker that gets recessed into the wall,
and it's plumbed.
It's connected to the plumbing. Yeah. And it'll grind your beans. It'll make a cappuccino, latte, whatever you want. It's actually the best purchase we made. Every morning, that's the first thing we use. We probably use it more than any other appliance.
Beds. There are all kinds of beds that are appliances because they're adjustable. Maybe fancy shower attachments or jacuzzis. There's, steam rooms, saunas. There's lots of
Yeah, I
different
mean,
kinds of
we
appliances.
focused on the kitchen today, and we'll talk
Yeah.
about bathrooms in a further episode.
Yes.
But
Perfect.
plumbing appliances, whether it's faucet sets, accessories, shower heads, and so forth that you need for your home, or if you're in shopping for a jacuzzi or a tub or something like that, those are all options to buy in these holiday seasons when they make the
Great.
special
And
sales.
would you mind reminding us how we can reach out to you?
Absolutely. You can find us at SamanthaBessudodrucker.com. You can reach out to me at Samantha@socialimage.net. And you can check out our YouTube channel, Love and Design Project YouTube channel.
Yeah, we're all over the place.
We're all over the place. Easy to
Beautiful.
find.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being here, for joining us. I know you're clearly passionate. And can I get the goodbye?
Oh, well, yes.
I love it. These are the dynamic duo. Come on, you got to give it to me. Give it to your audience.
So I'm Samantha Bessudo Drucker, lifestyle genie, and this is my husband, architect Jeffrey Drucker. I'm Taste.
I'm technical.
Together,
We're unstoppable.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.